Okay, now I'm live. I've never tried live streaming before, so I don't really know all the ins and outs. Hopefully the screen is horizontal now, and I'll just check that. Anyway, I'm going to be popping in and out of my own channel just to see if there is a chat, and I'm going to be reading Am I the Asshole posts for about an hour, and I'll just check the chat like every 10 minutes or so. Why am I checking a clock over here when there's one on here? Alright, so I'm going to go for an hour, and I'm going to check if there's anyone in the chat every 10 minutes or so. Hopefully it goes well. Didn't even let me name my live stream, though. I don't know. I'll learn. First post that I see 5 hours ago. Am I the asshole for telling my sister to stop being a child and get a life? I mean, sounds pretty rude to me, but, you know. We'll see. I, 37F, am a GP, general practitioner, for the non-Brits here. It is a firm rule of mine that I do not handle any medical situations for family and friends outside of extreme emergencies, as we are supposed to avoid any medical treatment for those close to us. Normally, I can stick to this rule, which is a good thing. Means no emergencies have happened. However, this morning, my cousin called me worried about if she should take her 3-month-old son to the hospital, not wanting to go if it was nothing, while I'd normally tell her to play it safe. I live a couple minutes away, so I just drove over. He was fine, just has a cold. I instructed her on how to care for him and what signs to look out for. This made the rounds in my family as she posted it on Facebook, laughing about her earlier worry, and my older sister saw it. She called me and began to berate me about how I was fine going over to help her cousin, but when her 8-year-old daughter's throat was sore and had a fever, I didn't go check and help. I pointed out that I'd brought my niece books and visited her, but no, I didn't medically check her as she's not a baby and my sister is definitely not a concerned new parent. My sister, being the understanding and patient woman she is, told me that it was the principle of the matter and it showed that I didn't care for my niece. I told her to stop being a child, and if nothing else, that showed how much I do care for my niece. I then told my sister she was acting like a bigger baby than our cousin's son and needed to get a life. Jesus. I feel bad for snapping like this, but I hate how she questioned if I care for my niece, because I adore that girl. The two situations in my mind are very different, but perhaps I should have been more patient all the same. Shut up, Facebook. Am I the asshole? I mean, you could have phrased it differently, but, yeah, maybe just phrase things differently. Take a deep breath before responding to things. And, I don't know, give your sister a general list of advice for dealing with, like, minor colds and whatnot. I'm just gonna go straight down the line. That person, I stamp you not the asshole. Just be better at communicating. Second post says, by someone calling themselves bodybuilder. Am I the asshole for not moving treadmills at the gym so two friends could run next to each other? I'm not an expert in gyms, but don't they usually have like rows of treadmills where people can run next to each other? Oh, this is a long one. I'm training for a marathon, and I was doing intervals on a treadmill at the gym in my apartment the other day. Hmm? Oh, you're at the gym in my apartment. Your apartment complex has a gym. My apartment gym is small. There are only 3 treadmills, but it works for what I need since I basically only use it if the weather prohibits me from running outside. Of the 3 treadmills, the middle one is my favorite. It's newer and smoother, and the console is higher. So on that day, I was doing my 5-on-1 off intervals in the middle treadmill when these 2 people got in front of the treadmill to get my attention. I thought it was an urgent matter, so I took one headphone out, but they asked if I could move to one of the side treadmills. They said they wanted to run next to each other and asked if I could move to one of the treadmills on the other side. I said no and put my headphone back in. I thought that would be the end, but they stayed in front of me, waving in front of me and nagging. I couldn't hear their exact words through my headphones. When I got to my rest period, I asked what was up, and they asked why I wouldn't move. I said, I'm doing intervals. They looked at me confused and said I could just move and it would take 5 seconds. I told them if they wanted this treadmill, they should have gotten here before I did and to stop bothering me. Well, we have 2 more paragraphs to go, but you just sound like a dick. Just move to the other treadmill. It's in your apartment complex. You don't own it. Like, it's not going to hurt you to move to a slightly older machine. Jesus. I didn't have the necessary breath to explain this. I need to make this larger. My eyes are terrible. But since I was doing very strict interval training that was programmed, I couldn't interrupt it. Also, it would throw off my vibe. Also, the middle treadmill is my favorite, and I was there first. When I got to the lobby, one of the girls was waiting for me. She told me I was very rude and that I should be banned from the gym for my conduct. I was like, girl, it's a treadmill. It's not that deep. She said I was lucky she didn't film me and get me in a Joey Swole video. Mind you, I'm a girl too. Does that matter? At this point, one of the guys working the front desk came up and asked if she was bothering me. She was getting very heated and I was staying calm. I said yes. He told her to leave me alone or he would call security, and she begrudgingly left. I mean, the fact that you're a woman doesn't even matter. You're still being an asshole over just a treadmill. I don't understand why you're being so bullheaded about it. When I retold this story to my friends, all of my running friends were fully with me. Well, they're your friends, of course. One of them was like, interrupting someone's workout should be a felony. Disagree. Some of my non-running friends, however, were a bit on the fence. Some of them think it was rude that I didn't give an explanation. I was out of breath because I was doing intervals. You love that word. One of my friends also brought up the point that while I'm a runner and I use the gym for sport-specific training, most other residents probably use the gym more casually, and it's not fair for me to expect them to meet the same gym standards, and I should have just moved or at least explained. Was I the asshole for not moving? Yeah. Like, it wouldn't have done anything to your workout to just move. I'll check the top comment and then move on. This person says, hi, I don't run, but if something is chasing me, well, I've had a good life. Okay, pointless statement. My vote is a huge not the asshole. These girls need to grow up. We're not talking about swings at recess. These are treadmills. It's first come, first serve. They can chit-chat on their own time or wait for you to finish. If they want, they can shout at each other from either side of you if they absolutely had to talk right then and there. You're an actual athlete. You shouldn't have to compromise a training session so the besties can hold hands or whatever. I mean, I can see where you're coming from, but I still think they were the asshole because it's not a paid membership at a gym. It's just a gym in your apartment complex that's probably just one tiny room. You could have easily shifted to the side a little bit. And you didn't say what the weather was like outside, so you could have just ran outside. And I know a few runners that will run even if it is raining, so I don't see what the weather has to do with it. If anything, wet clothes are heavier, and it makes for tougher exercise. I don't know. I'm going to check my stream real fast and see if there's anyone here. Then I'm going to keep reading. Nope. Alright. Am I the asshole for declining an invitation to my sister-in-law's destination wedding that is 2 weeks after our due date? Well, I'll read it, but that's an automatic no. I mean, if you're having a baby, then you probably shouldn't be traveling. That's just logic. Alright, sister-in-law has booked a child-free, very expensive destination wedding 600 miles away 2 weeks after our baby is due. They knew our due date before choosing a wedding date or venue, as we disclosed this very early, knowing they were going to be planning their wedding. Husband's family now has been pushing us to travel with our newborn, who could very well only be 2 weeks old, as due dates are not a guarantee, and toddler to the wedding. Little regard for the baby's safety or my concerns about healing and needing husband's help in the early days/weeks of postpartum that I've repeatedly expressed to them. And bring a babysitter. If I don't attend, they still want my husband to attend, even though they know I have hardly had any other help to stay with me in the event he has to leave. They also have had little regard for the fact that leaving his wife and 2 small children so soon after birth is not an easy decision to have to make, and leaves him in a difficult position. Be there for his wife and kids during a special challenging time, or be at sister's wedding that she didn't care to think about him whilst planning. I should add, we are very close to the family, and we tried to get them to consider our circumstance well before the wedding was booked. This has caused much tension in the family, and I feel as though our pregnancy has been minimized. We also have a history of IVF. I don't know what that means. In vitro? And pregnancy loss, and we're over 35, making this pregnancy high risk. It was implied by mother-in-law that we should have held off on our family planning, knowing the couple was engaged. What? I personally feel that when you plan for a destination wedding, knowing not everyone close to you is going to be able to swing it, is a hit you need to be prepared to take, and that if they wanted to include us and ensure we could all be there, they would have. Mother-in-law has repeatedly stated, this is his sister and he should be there, but I feel that if his sister really gave a shit about him being there, she would have been more inclusive and considerate. Looking to hear some other perspectives. How do we go about handling this with them? Just don't go. Like, I don't think your sister-in-law's very expensive, far-away wedding is so important that you need to give birth and immediately travel there. Like, I'm pretty sure it's recommended that you don't travel, like, go on a plane and shit while you're pregnant or directly after giving birth. So, yeah, not the asshole. I don't even need to look at the comments for this one. Just don't go. Tell your sister-in-law and mother-in-law that they're being bitches, or find a nice way to say that, and call it a day. Uh, 1 hour ago. Wow. Am I the asshole for refusing to do Thanksgiving this year? Probably not. Turkeys are getting expensive. Shrink. God damn it. Reddit is constantly asking me to download their app. I'm never gonna do it. Okay. Read this post. And then they bring me to the App Store. I'm going to read this and then check back in with the live stream and see if anyone has joined. I'm 40, F, and I have 6 sisters. Wow. My 2 older sisters are 44 and 47, and my 4 younger sisters are 38, 36, 34, and 32. Wow. So out of all of your siblings, like 5 of them are exactly 2 years apart, including yourself. That's interesting. We've always been a close-knit family, and for the past decade, I've taken on the responsibility of hosting Thanksgiving at my house. I enjoy having everyone over, but it's a lot of work, especially since we all have at least 2 kids each, all in the age group 5 to 15. That's at least 17 people. Fuck that. I would just choose not to come if I was in that family. Sorry. It's chaos, but joyful chaos. Nah. My husband helps out. Okay, so it's more than 17. My bad. I even got that number wrong. It would be 18. My husband helps out, but the majority of planning, cooking, and organizing falls on me. This year, I decided I need a break. Life has been hectic, and I'm feeling burnt out. Between work, taking care of my kids, 10 and 11, and other responsibilities, I'm just not up for the task of hosting a big family gathering. So I suggested that one of my sisters takes over hosting Thanksgiving this year. I brought this up in our family group chat thinking it would be a reasonable request, and it's plenty ahead of time. However, my 2 older sisters, Sarah and Emily, 47 and 44 respectively, were not happy with the idea. Sarah has a busy job and a smaller house, so she feels she can't accommodate everyone comfortably. Emily argued that she's been dealing with a lot of stress lately and doesn't have the energy to host. They both suggested that since I've been doing it for so long, I should keep the tradition going, especially since my house is the most spacious, and I'm the one who knows how to do it right. Well, that's just weaponized incompetence. My younger sisters were more understanding, but they also hesitated to take on the responsibility. My sister, Jessica, 38, said she would be willing to help out more with the preparations if I hosted, but she wasn't confident about hosting the entire event herself. The other younger sisters offered similar compromises, but no one was willing to take on the full load. After some back and forth, I stood firm and said I really need someone else to host this year. I suggested we could even make it a potluck to ease the burden, but Sarah and Emily were still upset. They accused me of being selfish and abandoning family tradition that I've upheld for years. They argued that I'm the one with the most experience, and that Thanksgiving just wouldn't be the same if I didn't host. Now there's tension in the family, with my older sisters feeling like I'm letting them down. Not to be rude, but your two older sisters sound like a couple of bitches. Yeah, I guess I was trying to be rude. Feel like I've done my fair share over the years, and it's not unreasonable to ask for a break. But at the same time, I understand that my older sisters are also under a lot of pressure, and that hosting Thanksgiving is a big deal for our family. So, am I the asshole for refusing to host Thanksgiving this year after doing it for the past decade? ETA, the second oldest, Emily, handles Christmas, so I feel like it's totally fair that she does not want to do both. She does not cook, though. She hires a catering company, but it's still a lot to take on regardless. Well, my suggestion, first of all, you're not the asshole. Like, that just sounds like a massive headache. Would be to have everyone pitch in to a venue that you can all rent out for the day. And like your sister does for Christmas, hire a catering company. That way no one has to worry about their house being too small, and no one has to worry about the stress of cooking. All of you just have to pitch in, an equal amount, and it should be fine. Let me check if there's a chat. And nope. No chat yet. I'm not expecting too much. Like, live streaming from a mobile device is pretty weird, and I'm only allowed to have like 115 people in the chat or watching at once anyway, which is strange, but those are the rules, I guess. What the fuck is this title? Am I the asshole for being the reason why my brother has stopped showering? What the fuck? Once it loads, there we go. Oh, these are two very young people. All right. I, 16F, live with my only brother, 13M, and our parents. My brother has never been the most clean person, and while his bedroom is very neat and organized, he constantly leaves his trash and toys throughout our family's kitchen and living room. There are almost always Legos covering the floor and furniture, despite having a whole Lego studio set up in our basement for him. Wow, okay. The mess is extremely aggravating to me, as I already have pretty bad anxiety. It is annoying because I'm the only person who it bothers, so I'm the only person left to pick it up. Yee. Last week, my brother announced to me that he is going to start showering in my shower. For context, we have 2 showers in our house, one in my parents' bedroom's bathroom, and one in the only other bathroom, which I currently have been the only one using for the past year. The whole family used to only use the shower in our parents' bathroom because it was much bigger and nicer. However, last year I cleaned up the other shower and bought shelves for it in order for me to start using it as my shower. While it sounds stupid, this is the only place I have to myself besides my room that is not covered with my brother's junk. I actually take care of it and clean it every week. Also, I have a decent-sized collection of body washes that I have bought with my own money from my job. When I heard that he wanted to start using this space, I felt a little upset, as this shower is pretty important to me. Yes, I know it sounds stupid. My parents sided with him after me telling them. My parents sided with me after telling them, as they said that he can keep using the shower in their bathroom. Well, that's nice of them. that he has been using for the past 5 or 6 years. Now he hasn't showered for the past few days and I'm starting to feel bad. However, I just want one space to myself since he gets to trash our entire house with his Lego collection and toys, and I simply don't have time to have more to clean up since I play 2 sports, go to work and school, and he doesn't ever feel obligated to clean despite not really doing anything besides going to school and playing with Legos and watching TV. Am I the asshole? No. Sounds like your brother is a spoiled brat and he noticed that you carved out a space for yourself and decided to try to, make himself a part of that because he's used to getting whatever he wants and he likes being the center of attention. Your parents need to discipline your brother more. They need to make him clean up after himself. And they need to tell him that he has to take a shower or he's grounded. No TV, no stupid Legos. Take the electronics out of his room until he actually showers. Because Jesus Christ, you deserve to have something to yourself. If you cleaned the shower, you installed shelves, and you bought things for it with your own money, then yeah, you're entitled to want that space to yourself and not want your freaking brother making like potions out of your fucking body wash. Not the asshole. Alright. This post is 8 hours ago. Am I the asshole for writing about my maternal grandma as the living woman I admire the most and not my stepmom? Hoo boy. I'm not even going to be looking at comments for these. Most of them. Okie dokie. This could get rambly. Sorry. My mom died 10 years ago. My condolences. I am 16 and I was 6. My parents were separated for 2 or maybe 3 years and in the final stages of their divorce. So I knew they weren't getting back together and I knew my dad had a girlfriend at the time. I met her a year later. They'd been together 2 years already, but Dad delayed us meeting because of my mom dying, and I didn't want to meet her. Fair. I was really against meeting my stepmom for a while. I told my dad I didn't want to replace my mom, but he was really desperate for us to meet and for us to get along, so he pushed it. And it backfired because I basically retreated into myself, and I didn't say a word to her the first time we met. I also cried so hard when my emotions burst out after an hour of her trying to talk to me. Dad had to call my grandma for help, who was basically my best support after my mom died. Grandma was sick with cancer at the time, had lost her only child and her husband, but was still there for me. Wow. This is actually really sad. Anyway, Grandma told my dad I needed therapy and she paid for me to go since he couldn't afford it. I started therapy a few weeks after meeting my stepmom. I met her a few more times before it started, but didn't handle it any better. Eventually, with therapy, I was less against her being around and talked to her a bit. Even started to like her. But I never saw her as my mom. Well, how could you? Ooh. To be fair, they didn't push that on me either. She told me when we had met a lot more times that I could call her whatever, so I always called her by her first name. When she and my dad got married, I was his best girl. I don't know much about weddings. When my 2 half-sisters and half-brother were born, I loved them and we're close. But I'm still closest to my grandma. She is amazing. My stepmom and I are closer than we were before, but after a few years, and especially after my siblings were born, she started to wish we could be closer, and reached out to me and offered to be my second mom if I wanted, and I told her I didn't. She was sad, and she told me that. I noticed after that she changed towards me, not in a negative way, but in that she was trying to show up as a mom and be closer to me. A few times, my dad told me I had to go along with her so it wouldn't hurt her as badly, like when she booked us for a mother-daughter spa day package for Mother's Day. I mean, it sounds like your stepmom's trying to put in the effort, but it should just be as a stepmom. I don't think she should be trying to replace your biological mother. There was an assignment I had to do for writing club, for a writing club I'm a part of. We were asked to write about the living woman we admire the most, and I wrote about my grandma. It got published in the club newsletter, which is how my dad and stepmom found out about it, and they asked me about it. My stepmother told me she was hurt I wouldn't write about her, and she asked why I was never willing to give her a chance at being my second mom. My dad told me I should have declined the assignment since they're always optional, or chosen to write about my stepmom since my grandma always gets my praise, and I made it public that my grandmother is more important than my stepmom. I mean, I get trying to connect with your stepchild, but obviously your grandmother who supported you through your mother's death is going to be more important to you. That's just... Yeah, no, you're not the asshole for having reasonable feelings. Jesus Christ. Whew. I will check the chat once again, if there is a chat. Nope. I don't think I'm gonna go for an hour. Should have poured myself a drink or something. My throat's getting dry. This one looks fun. 2 hours ago, am I the asshole for poisoning my roommate? What the fuck? Ugh. Okay. I think after this I'm going to do one more post and then I'm going to end it here. At least I figured out how to live stream, so good enough for me. Someone has been eating my food. I live with 3 other girls. Between us all, we share 2 fridges. This is because 2 of us have no peanut allergy and the other 2 do have a peanut allergy. I, F21, make curries pretty much every other day. Nice. I leave leftovers in the fridge because I like to eat it throughout the week. And I've been noticing for the past month that someone has been taking at least half of my leftovers and have attempted to cover it up as if I wouldn't notice. I asked everyone if anyone knew who was eating my food. Everyone declined. I asked the girl I share a fridge with if she has been taking my stew, and she said no. I'm a lot closer with her, so I believe her. We are the ones who do not have the peanut allergy, so I knew it must be one of the other 2 girls. It has been a few weeks, no one has eaten my food, I assume, and I decided I was going to make a peanut chicken stew and put some leftovers in the fridge. One of my roommates wake up with hives in the middle of the night, her face is completely swollen, and she is itching her entire body. She asked if I put peanuts in my stew, and I said yes. She is clearly the one who has been eating my leftovers without permission. She then proceeds to accuse me of poisoning her when I gave her no permission to eat my food. I told her I never gave her permission to eat my food and that we have separate fridges to avoid this from happening. She is coughing and wheezing, and my other roommate calls an ambulance. She's fine. When she initially told me she had a peanut allergy, she told me it was nothing serious, just a few itches and swelling. Her dad is a police officer and came over the same day and accused me of purposely poisoning her and said they will file a police report. Excuse me? Thing is, if she asked for my leftovers, I would have told her she is welcome to have some rather than her eating it behind my back. And for this instance, I would have obviously told her there were peanuts in the stew, and this would all have been avoided. I'm not sure what claim this police will have against me. Am I the asshole? Edit, I'm in the UK. Well, I don't know what the law is in the UK, but you have separate fridges for people that don't have peanut allergies because you frequently eat peanuts, I assume. Someone has been sneaking your food because they don't want to cook for themselves. And then she gets her dad to say they're gonna, bring you up on charges for making yourself food that someone else stole? Like, I don't know if that'll stick, but that seems absolutely ridiculous. Like, I don't see how you could press charges for your own theft and stupidity. Also, maybe check the food you're stealing for nuts. Because unless you're crushing the peanuts into a powder, I really don't see... I don't see how you're going to miss that there's peanuts in there, or even miss the flavor of having peanuts in there. Alright, this is going to be the last post because I didn't realize how much a solid 30 to 40 minutes of talking would make my throat dry. Oh, this is a short one. Okay. I, 30F, have a sister, 35F. Do you really need to put the F if she's your sister? Like, I think we can assume. We can get the context. I don't know. She is getting married in December. Excuse me. For her wedding present, she asked me to make her a blanket. I crochet. I said, sure, absolutely, I could do that for her. She picked the colors, design, size, etc. Her bridal shower is coming up, and my mom asked me what I'm getting for her, and I told her I wasn't getting her anything for the bridal shower since I'm already making her a blanket for her wedding. Yeah, fair. That takes a lot of time to do, I imagine. My mom says I'm an asshole for this since it's tradition to get the bride stuff for the bridal shower as well as for the couple for the wedding. I think it's a ridiculous tradition considering I've already spent over $100 in materials for the blanket. And if I were to sell the blanket in general, it would be around $300 to purchase with that time, money, and expertise, etc. factored into the cost and complexity of the pattern. Am I the asshole for not getting my sister a bridal shower gift as well? No, I don't think you are. And honestly, I never understood the concept of people trying to enforce, like, gift giving for events that are solely for them. Like, a birthday present is one thing, but your wedding is a you day. It's about you. All these posts you see of people trying to charge people to go to their wedding. Mandatory gifts, don't even bother coming if you're not going to get me a gift that's at least $200. Like, shut the fuck up. You're lucky I'm taking my time out of my day to go to an event that's probably going to be boring. What, two people standing in front of an altar? Some priest is there? Or a non-conventional wedding? Where they just say some things to each other, exchange rings, and then they continue being together because they were already together. Like, I don't understand marriage as a concept. Anyway, no one tuned in, but, I'll make this live stream public since they're automatically privated. If anyone watches after the fact, thank you. And have a good day, everyone.